Marathon. I'm Samura1man. I'll be running Link's Awakening any percent for you. With me, a commentator Girano, and reader the Black Plastic will be there alongside with the
Hey everyone.
With the voices too. And I assume that the bonus incentive got met for Link's Awakening. Am I correct? The color dungeon, the optional dungeon that is not seen in any other speedruns, but just 100%.
I believe it has, because we've added it to our back end, so...
Alright, that sounds good. So after I beat any percent, I'll be starting a new run that is a beating color dungeon. So yeah. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1, go. So Link's Awakening remake got a lot of... It's very charming, very faithful to its original, don't you think, Girano?
Absolutely. I love the cartoonish style, and it's really... The music that they made for this game is really, really good. So I would say it's one of the best Switch games that are out right now, and pick it up if you haven't already.
Yeah, agree.
And check the speedrun.
Oh yeah, the speedrun is something special. You will imagine sometimes that the original is always gonna be the more broken or more glitchy compared to the remake, but I promise you the remake even has some of the crazy stuffs. Maybe it's not as broken or glitchiest like the original, but there are glitches and skips that you'll be seeing during this run.
Very interesting glitches, for sure. As you can see, the game we are playing in German right now, and that's because German is the language with the least amount of text boxes. That saves us some time during the run, mostly because at the end of every dungeon there's gonna be like a small cutscene with text in it, and the German version is the faster one going through them, because in the English version you actually get 2 text boxes. It takes like 5 seconds to load, though having just one, it's a time save overall.
Yeah, and I think I remember someone tested out the text boxes by just going to the memo in a menu, then just check how many text boxes each owl Il's owl interactions had. Like here, for example, is an owl interaction. That was tested with the memo in a menu, just to see the differences. And apparently, I think Japanese version, maybe Chinese version, had the most amount of text boxes, which is kind of strange because most of the time Asian languages would have the fastest text because less characters to scroll through, but that's mostly for the older games nowadays. So right off sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, another thing I would like to point out is that we didn't make a new save file. That's because we start with a pre-made save file, because in this run we actually do Rng Manipulation. Because at the end of the game you're supposed to go through a maze and you need to learn about the correct route to take. But we can manipulate the game to know already which route to take. And that's done by made a pre-save file that has no content in it, but it's already has the Rng Manipulation in it, so we don't need to do the Rng Manipulation every time we start the game.
Yeah. It used to be that very, very first days when it was found out you can do the Rng Manipulation, there was a super permutation that runners would choose to go for if they wanna risk it all at the end and just hope for the best that the super permutation works. However, then it was found out you can do the Rng Manipulation. The main is game made by Creso, so I assume they didn't want to make it too complicated RNG, maybe. So RNG changes every second each time from the start of the console reboot. That's how we can find out the correct XMA spot when there's a list for every second. We just call them seats. It's interesting, I'll just tell you. Then the community decided that it's just better we have a pre-made save file because it's very easy to do. Anybody can do it when you know the steps, pretty much.
So right now we are going through the forest to get the slime key. There's this raccoon that's gonna transform into Mario, a very looking Mario guy.
Very waiting with the mushrooms.
Exactly. And this point of the run, I would say it's movement based. The movement in the game is very simple, but to master it is very hard, I would say. And like Samura1man is one of the best in doing that, for sure. Moving in the best way possible, it's the best way to save time in the game. If you know how to move very correctly, you can save minutes and minutes over time.
And not only that, like I mentioned, the game has glitches and skips too, so pulling out those first try, 15 first try, second try, is also gonna save a lot of time.
Yeah, and most of the glitches are really hard to get, so getting them, it's really important.
Yeah, and speaking of the difficult glitches, I have prepared myself with 2 backup files, just in case I'm not able to do one of the glitches that is shown in a run and have to be done in a run. So the route saves and works. If you have any donations, I wanna hear your voice, the Black Plastic.
Sure, well, I do have a couple of messages as we're well on our way to 20K here in this marathon.
We can reach it.
We do have a upper room game giveaway for Wavy the Rocket. Remember, they are still running a promotion where if you do submit a sub-hour speedrun to the leaderboards, they will match it with a $10 donation for the cause. So if you want to chip in a little bit, feel free to engage in the giveaway on Twitter, on ESA's Twitter, where they will be giving away 5 of them, so you can get a chance to win that. Or if you want to just pick up a copy of Wavy the Rocket yourself, it is 25% off right now. And again, submit that speed run and donate to the cause.
Oops, that was a from wall there. Those bits are kinda interesting because now they're like put together. In original, they were like bits after bits and not like combined like here together. So you can easily just eat Link. Let's say it like that. If you're just nearby the ledge of the bits.
Yeah, the game is mostly similar to the original. They did some tweaks to make it a little bit better maybe for the new audience, but it's very similar to the original in the room layouts and the dungeon making.
Yep. Now it's just got the better. The game has an autosave feature, so what I can do is just load an autosave, and I'm at the beginning of the dungeon, which is a very amazing way to save time. Compared to the original where you had to do a save and quit each time to get back to the beginning of the dungeon. I'll be using autosave feature, the autoload, a lot during the run. I'll be needing a couple of keys to get the nightmare key to enter the boss fight in this dungeon. That is a hamburger. You may think the run is just very straightforward for the dungeons, but like I said, the glitches are there, the skips are there, and we are gonna see very first skip right after this dungeon.
Exactly, and after dungeon 3 we're gonna have the boots, so the movement is gonna be even faster because we can actually run.
Yeah, right now it's just moving around, making turns here and there smoothly. Avoiding jumping a little bit, because jumping slows down Link just a tiny bit. Couple frames, if we can say.
Yeah, the movement, like even slashing on the ground, it slows Links a lot. And this is the first mini-boss.
That was very good. I'll be picking up this berry, just to be sure that Moldorm is not gonna screw me over, let's say. Because there is RNG, there is luck element with the Molten fight, and quite many things has a luck element in a run, but not like a major differences, I would say. There's 4 pits in a corner, so I have to avoid dropping down. Oh, I want to be careful there. Yeah, you saw it was bouncing around the corners and walls all the time. I was also trying to counter or just hear the audio cue from the music, so I know when I can search my next sword spin, so I can kill it quickly.
Yeah, if you fall down the pits, you have to go loop around in the dungeon and go back to this room, so you don't want to fall.
And you have to start over the whole fight.
And this is the... we just picked up the Sallow, and we can see now it's gonna do like a cutscene when the screen goes white and the text appears. You will see that it takes some time to load, and that's why we're playing on German, because we only get one text box. In English, it's 2 text boxes, and as I said, that's gonna save us some time during the run.
And I also want to mash with the A and B to the text box, so it closes faster.
And yeah, we are approaching the first glitch.
Yep. And funnily enough, we need a help from something, an object, an animal, a pet, to help us to get to the dungeon 2 faster. And funnily enough, it's a chicken. We need this chicken. Trust me, it will help us. You have to cut through a couple of crashes, go nearby dungeon 2. We shortly call them D2, D3, but I'll try to call them as the dungeons 2, 3 and so on. So you notice I'm not going for a Bow Wow that we are supposed to save, but we're not gonna save him, unfortunately, this run. Let's see how this goes. Oh, it's like it's not cooperating well now, right now. Let's see. I need to be in a specific spot, so the like is gonna launch me up on the tree. With the help of the chicken, too, I should be able to get up there. Hopefully like comes back. Oh, it's not coming back. This is catastrophic.
Yeah, sadly the like moves in a weird way. If it decides to stop in a certain point, it's hard to unstuck him from that loop, and we need to change the like or go back and make him respawn.
Yeah, I wanna walk a little bit farther. This hasn't happened to me at all, and in a run setting, if I was doing for records, I would save. I would restart over that already. There's an older method, but I wanna try again with this same like. If it was in the right spot, but it's not. Okay, come down. Yes, that's good. That's good. Okay, that's good. So I need to be in a specific spot, and chicken has. Wait, you don't wanna do that. No, like that can sometimes happen with the like. It doesn't want to keep going all the way to the left. So I'm getting a little bit unlucky. Please come back. I guess I can say this has never happened before. Like is interesting because it has some kind of line of sight, but it is not like completely line of sight. Now please launch me up there. Hey, thank you, it works. Alright, this is the part 1, we are on the 3, now we enter the dungeon 2. We want to be careful we don't get hit by fishes or anything. And especially want to have 1 heart, over 1 heart for that jump, particularly because they deal 1 heart of damage. And just earlier this week there was a new skip found for this dungeon. I'll be attempting it, but it has a 1 out of 3 chance to work, so 33% chance it will work. and it has something to do with the Hinox. I guess
Exactly.
I guess we're gonna explain it more when I get to do it.
Yeah, we use the Inox 3 times if we want to obtain this glitch here. It's called Inox Warp, and you're gonna see it when it comes. We're gonna explain it later.
Yep. And then just to explain how it works, it's like too complicated to even explain in depth to anybody, because even I don't understand it. Many other runners don't understand it fully. It's a complicated glitch.
It's very technical as well.
Yeah, I'll be attempting it once because of the. I told you there's a 1 out of 3 chance it will work. Just for a marathon safety, I won't be attempting too much. Just once. It has a setup. It's consistent, but I need to be focusing on the timings. I didn't get it. Unfortunate. So it threw me to down right, and I wanted him to throw me right. So he would have threw me to the instrument room.
You can skip the wall dungeon by getting thrown to the instrument room, and that will happen later in the game because we actually do it with other 2 Inox. But it's gonna be later in the game, D7 and D8.
Since it threw me down right, I guess I could try that one more time, and if it doesn't work, I'll just beat him and do the older route, because it was so close. Because I'm so close to it.
That was really close.
That timing was wrong there. It's fine. Better to bail it that way, so I get to kill him now. So he was supposed to throw me right, then I would have got the instrument. If he threw me upright, and that's where the 1 out of 3 chance game comes out. He either throws me upright, right, or down right. And only right throw will get me to the instrument room. Down right leads me back to that spot where I just got thrown. Then upright voids out, so I will just spawn back in that room where I was during the mini boss fight. So I didn't get it, and I'll do the older route. Apparently the time saved from getting that skip saves 2 minutes, roughly. Quite handy.
Yeah, and it was just fun this week, so it's very new. It's fair to not get it, and
it's RNG.
Quite RNG, exactly.
So I can't completely rely on it at all. So this means we're gonna do the older route, and we are coming back to this dungeon a lot later. It is actually faster. We beat the dungeon 2 right now. Got some rupees there. Good thing I didn't forget them. We need to buy a potion.
Do you mind if I butt in with a donation?
Yes, sure.
Sure. We have a $30 donation coming in from Chai Chime. Hopefully I pronounced that right. It says, good luck, Samu. D4 skip first try.
I hope.
Then we also have a $5 anonymous donation that just goes...
So the reason why we picked up the Tracy potion is that we're gonna need it to do Tracy boosts, which are actually the D4 skip that the donation just talked about. And it's gonna revive us. When you die in the game and you have the potion, you can actually revive yourself. But you're gonna see it later.
Oh, and
now we're gonna steal some items too.
Yeah, and the super boss, the invincible boss of the game, just killed us, even with the potion. That was one change they made for this game. In our original, if you have the potion, you will revive and he will just kill you again. But in this version, you just die regardless do you have the potion, but you keep the potion at least. So it's very handy. So we are supposed to go to the Canalet Castle, but this is a speedrun, so we're gonna skip that and get to the dungeon faster by using these pincers. Unfortunate. I was a little bit too far to the right, I think, there. I was supposed to land on a tree, then I will just get the... get to the... key. Luckily, the auto save... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, this is a newer version of the Villa skip that we used to do. We used to do a Tracy boost as well, but this is way faster and easier sometimes. So we are gonna use the pincer just to jump over the trees and get done with it.
It's very simple, but requires you to do these specific move set parts for the setup to work. Pincer has to be at the highest point when you do the jump slash underneath it. So then you can jump from him to the tree.
Oh my god, nice.
So getting a third try over the older Villa skip is actually still faster. Oh, I used to do that, yes, in my practice runs too. Let's use the powder to pick up the key, yeah. So yeah, the older Villa skip was using the Tracy boost with the box. So you die at the same time, then the box pushes you up on the croc and you just pick up the key. But this way is a lot faster. Using the pincer. So when the pincer is at the highest point, you can jump on the tree, which is why we have to get it to that point, and it has to be that specific pincer too. Luckily enough, it's at the certain distance, so we can get to that tree from that point. If it was a one tile closer or farther away, I believe it wouldn't work then. We just skipped Canalet Castle with Villa skip and that's a dungeon 3, then we don't have bombs, if you noticed. Which is why the older Villa skip doesn't work. You can get bombs after you beat dungeon 2. Which in this case we haven't done, we left it behind. Luckily, or let's say fortunately, there are bombs in this dungeon. Like you saw, I just picked up 2. And there's 10 bombs later on. We'll pick up those 2. We need those to open couple of walls that are broken. And beat the mini-boss of the dungeon.
Bombs and arrows management in this run is very important because if you don't do it right, you'd end up without having the right amount of arrows and bombs that you need to finish the game, and you end up losing a lot of time getting them back.
There's a lot of pickups we can go for, backup arrows and bombs, so it's not too big of an issue, but wanna be careful not wasting too many of them. Whipping, let's say. That's a BOP, piece of power, that dropped there after 32 kills and some extras, I think. I still don't remember that. And that's the Guardian. Guardian something. Guardian Acorn, yeah. So those picks, those drops from a certain amount of kills and stuff, but we don't have to worry about them because the current route doesn't rely on piece of power drop anymore. The older route did, so we are able to kill the dungeon 5 boss faster. And that was a little bit of spoiler. Yeah, we are gonna skip that dungeon. Did you expect we were gonna fight that? I wonder.
Gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast, indeed. What do you think about this game so far? Blacktastic, asking you now.
I think the out of bounds is extremely wild in this game.
It is indeed. Did you know there's actually one tree that I can think of you can get on your own without glitches? There is one. It's nearby Dungeon 4. Nearby the ladder.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, that.
And now we got.
Now we got
the boots, and we can run through the game. And that's pretty good.
You guys know who else loves this run?
I'm sure.
Jimbo loves this run. $10 coming in from Jimbo that says, "Go, Samu. I love this run."
Thank
So yeah,
you,
I didn't lie
Jimbo.
to you.
usually those bomb bites have a timer, like you saw 2 of them, but if you kill them with a bomb, they instantly dies. And I wanted to use that for the one of them, to make that room a little bit faster, because the right side bomb bites are a lot closer to me than the left side one, because it's just farther up there and top left. But if the RNG, the movement from that bomb bite is horrible, then I can't shoot a bomb arrow. I only lose an arrow there, but I get a... oops. I get a bomb back every time if I kill bomb bite with a bomb.
We now are getting this chest because it's a chest with 300 rupees, and we're gonna need them later in the game to get the ocarina. To get the frog song, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Frog song requires 300 rupees. These are the only rupees we need for the rest of the run now. There used to be another route where you will pick up 2 100 rupee chests and 2 50 rupee chests, but I believe that ended up being a tiny bit slower because of the chest animation each time you open a chest. A little bit out of the way too, those chests are. But those are good backup chests, just in case. We got the 4 keys, we're gonna beat the dungeon 3 boss.
What? We are actually beating a boss in this game?
Oh, we already beat one.
Oh, true.
I actually came up with a category called reverse boss order, which is really silly because you will have to enter many dungeons before you can even beat the dungeon 8 boss first.
It's quite fun to watch though.
That was a really fun category. Unfortunately, you cannot beat the final boss first. To access the egg, you need all the 8 instruments. But did you know you can play ocarina for the egg without any instruments? Then you don't hear anything, but it doesn't open still. Alright. It was a good fight. There's even a better fight if you get a good luck with the bounces they do, and one of them doesn't jump to the ceiling. If they're nearby each other, and you kill the other one before that other one jumps to the ceiling, you can actually zero cycle these bosses. Or this boss. I don't have to pick up heart containers, but for the normal safety of the run, and just to manage your health, and not going slower in some parts, it's better to pick up some heart containers after the bosses. A bomb damages you by 2 hearts. Many enemies in a late game will damage you by 1 or 2 hearts. So it's just for the safety purpose to have 5 hearts right now. So this is the part where I'm gonna go for the really hard trick. Most likely the hardest trick of the run. And it's also the... It was actually quite splitting up the community because of the difficulty of the glitch. It requires you to take a box to the Dungeon 4 entrance, where you will have to use the key that is in a desert, but we are not gonna go to the desert. We're gonna actually use the Tracy boost Shidano mentioned about. But what is difficult about this glitch is that we only have 1 try for it, and attempting that again takes 2 minutes. That's why I have prepared myself with backup files. For a marathon safety purpose, I don't want to spend 10 minutes attending that when it's a really difficult glitch on its own. So I will continue the run after, let's say, 2 attempts. I'll do 2 attempts, and if they don't succeed, we're gonna take the backup file. The backup files are already prepared with the Rng Manipulation, so I do know the egg maze part. We are dreaming a dream, by the way. Can you... Ooh, wow. Can you imagine that? We are dreaming in a dream.
So, the piece of power, as you saw, stops Link for an animation of picking it up. So that's why usually we don't want to pick them up. And at least the piece of power, the red one, gives you a boost in speed when you're walking. the defense one doesn't even do that. So you really don't want to pick up the defense one.
The piece
And
of
we got
power.
Ocarina.
The piece of power gives you damage up as well, which is what we use for a dungeon 5 boss. But now it's not a part of the run anymore, so we don't need the piece of power at all anywhere during the run. Playing the cutest and the best song in the game. Or rather, learning first, then playing it.
And then we are gonna take a fox for a walk.
Yep. Unfortunately, we can't pick it up. It will be faster that way.
Yeah.
The most important part, don't say no. Say yes for this part. Otherwise, she's gonna sing it again for you.
That happened to me many times.
I think it happened once to me, if none at all. Unfortunately for the fox, we have to slash it so it attacks us and comes with us. Here's the one part that we have to get the fox up on the ladder. And guess what? Fox uses up B in this game.
We're gonna use the bomb to make it follow us up the ladder.
This is why it was really splitting the community when...
Yeah, in case you fail it, you have to do all of these all over again.
Yeah, you have to do everything
pretty
again.
much.
And it starts from the village after you get the song.
We're also gonna pick up the teleport because we're gonna use it later.
In all the routes it was picked up right before getting the Tracy boost, but it's actually faster with the current route to pick it up while doing the Dungeon 4 skip. Dungeon 4 early, sorry. There's too many skips and early and stuff in this game to name. There was a really tricky way to get the fox down the ladder, but with that you can push it down the ladder with the fox, with the shield. It's a very simple and easy way to get it down. Now I need to focus for the timing. I'm gonna fail that. That was like very scary. Because the box was a little bit off from the initial spot that I'm used to. I didn't want to go for it, but I got it. So let's go. We don't have to use the backup file. Let's go.
As you saw, the fox pushed Link up the rock, while the bomb killed Link. So what happened is that the potion revived Link on top of the rock, and that actually made it possible for him to go over the fence and just jump into the dungeon. And it's a really hard trick to get.
Yeah, you don't have a big timing window for that. So failing that would have been really horrible. Then I just walked through the waterfall because there's no collision. Oh, I actually need a bomb because there is a skip for... Wanna press yes? No? Okay. So there's a skip for this dungeon too. You don't skip the dungeon though, you skip 2 small keys. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah, this is a bomb boost. It's a fairly recent skip as well. I'm gonna try to pull it off.
Unfortunate for that timing. Timing is very strict with the different angle of it.
As you see, Simon is slashing on the way to go to the jump because it's a nice way to time it.
I'm not getting the right timing now. I think I'm going a bit too early with the jump. I'm not getting the damage boost. Game, please. There we go. Now let's please just not die. Okay, I got the hearts, nice. If you have low health, the game automatically wants to give you just hearts so you can survive. I was wasting a little bit of bombs, but luckily we can pick up those again from the start of the dungeon. And here's the mini-boss. We just got the key and we're in the mini-boss already. Oh, what a timing. That's unfortunate. This is a little spaghetti. It feels like my first runs. I messed up the timing with the spin blaster for the third hit, so I didn't get the quick kill at all. And I didn't want to waste arrows, which would have done the same amount of damage with the spin slash.
And even with this dungeon, we are not gonna finish it already, but we're gonna come back later to it.
The reason for that is the ghost. The ghost appears after dungeon 4 is beaten, and we want to avoid that. And the easiest way to avoid that is not having a partner with Link, but we don't have any partners. We used to have a Bow Wow, but that's not a part of the run anymore. Which in this case, we have to skip it by doing the dungeon as latest as possible. Here's Mambo. That's a good time for the donations.
Well, as we are on the road to 20k, just want to remember, or rather remind folks what we are doing this event for. This Save the Children's appeal for coronavirus relief, especially since throughout this challenging time, Save the Children is focusing on what's most important, which is keeping children safe and healthy. Most importantly, making sure they can keep learning and be in a safe home, in a safe environment, and get everything that they need, like disinfectant items like soap. So again, let's get those donations in. Let's reach that 20k before the end of the day, guys.
We can do it. That was Mambo. We are leaving dungeon 4 behind for a while and go to dungeon 5. I think my microphone picks up that sound notification. My apologies. Oops. There are many ways to cancel the dashing with a slash, with a jump, or just simply manually stopping Link. Manually is the fastest, but also the trickiest one, because you have to move the joystick to the opposite direction, or just the side and diagonally any direction, so the Link stops running after that point. Here's dungeon 5. I don't think many people used to like this dungeon, but I kinda like the dungeon with the team because...
It's very confusing at the first playthrough, that's for sure.
Oh, for sure. I like the team, it's like kind of like a cave-ish team. There is this mini-boss, Master Stalfos. We have to kill it. Well, actually we only kill it once, but we have to fight him 4 times. Because he has the dungeon item. He steals it from the chest. That is after the first fight. And then we have to continue fighting him in other parts of the dungeon. Oh, let's not forget to equip bombs. A couple times I managed to play Mambo for fighting Master Stalfos and it didn't work. He needs 3 hits from a bomb, and he only takes damage when he's knocked down by a Sport Slash. There is actually a dungeon in a chamber, dungeon chamber, whatever that is called, in a Dampei, and you cannot place those rooms there where Master Stalfos appears. And you have to fight it in a dungeon that doesn't have a sword. That's because only the sport can stun and knock down Master Salvos. There's a bomb speak up, we can for safety, and it gonna have to be picked up in a current route. Here's the second fight. It's always the same fight, but from a different angle, possibly because you enter the room in a different spot.
The last fight is gonna be different though.
Yep.
At least for the end of it.
Nice bonk. You can move around to any side with the boots, which is really nice. And after the jump, you can also change the direction a little bit, which is cool for these boots. Compared to the Link to the Past, you only dash to the one direction, then you just stop whenever you want. But you cannot move, unlike in this game. Okay, after this fight, I'm gonna save a backup save for this file, because I wanna get this trick.
It's time for some rocket science.
For sure. I will agree, it's actually rocket science, Girano. Port Master Salvos, I have to get it to the top bottom right corner for this setup to work. For the rocket science to work. So I'll be focusing a little bit. The reason I need to save manually is because of the autosave. I cannot try this again if I fail it. That's actually very bad. It didn't go to that bottom right corner. That's unfortunate. I'll have to try again. This is still faster than just continuing. For some reason the slash didn't make him to go to the bottom right, which is part of the setup. The hookshot is supposed to land on Link's head, then I put down the bomb and then the magic happens when I pick up the bomb. Or the rocket happens. Whatever you wanna call it.
This is still faster than doing it normal way, mostly because the boss of this dungeon is the most RNG one, and we really want to skip it.
Let's try again. And that's it. Then we are on the wall in the Dungeon 5. We skipped Dungeon 5 completely. The boss fight is gone. We've never seen it before. That's the rocket science.
What happens is that the bomb and the hookshot collide in a weird way. So when Link picks up the hookshot, it actually gets launched over the wall, and we can actually walk over it. And that lets us skip the boss fight.
The only downside, which is fine, because it saves time to get that, is that we cannot get the hook shot at the same time when we do the rocket launch. It's called rocket launch, I believe. And that means we have to go and pick it up. That's one of the dungeons we can skip. Partially skip. We are on our way to the Dungeon 6 next, but we need a base key that is behind Armor's Knight. So if you got any donations, feel free to read them.
Well, actually, I do have an update on the Wavy Dash Upper Room Games is hosting, and for the entirety of May through the end of June, the speedrun challenge for Wavy the Rocket. So if you submit a speedrun under 60 minutes to the speedrun.com leaderboard, they will donate $10. For every 20 successful runs that are submitted, they will donate an extra $50, and that is going on for an entire month. So again, get Wavy the Rocket at a discounted price now. Or we have the pinned tweet giveaway for ESA Marathon. They're giving away 5 copies as well, and that can also be a really good way to chip in for the cause. So again, guys, let's race toward that 20K.
Dungeon 6 is my favorite part of the run. It has an amazing atmosphere. You find out the truth about the island. And it has the best boss fight and a mini boss fight, in my opinion. One of the best boss fight, actually.
The whole design of the dungeon is really nice. Also, the music is very fitting.
Oh, the Guardian Acorn. I was thinking it will be there, but didn't want to believe it. Well, that slowed me down just a tiny bit, and I won't take any damage, almost. But I will take just a half a damage. Here's Armor's Knight. There's a setup for killing it fast with the spin slashes and our arrows. Very nice. Nice. If he jumps, you cannot damage him. Only when he's on the ground. Dungeon 6, I believe it's the longest dungeon for any percent. Yeah, it must be the longest dungeon. Even if there is a one glitch that we do. There is another glitch too that you possibly saw me doing in a ESA Winter. Well, I'm not gonna do that because it's very hard. I knew it will be hard, and I practiced it so much, but yet I couldn't do it for the marathon run. I believe nobody does it in a run. It's way too far in a run, and way too hard. Like, way too hard. And saves like, I don't know, almost no time, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not worth it, and it's really hard to get. It's wall riding, and it requires a lot of practice, and even with practice, it's very impractical to do.
Yeah, with the specific angle, you can land to the other side to get the Nightmare Key early. But if you don't get it, you're gonna bonk and you have to try again. And that already loses more time than trying to go through the dungeon with the older way. First we need the power bracelet, the upgrade. So we are able to pick up even heavier items, objects. After getting the first small key, you're gonna see the small part of the wall riding that saves time over the regular route. It's a lot easier one too. Fortunately, a lot easier. Compared to that, what I did in a ESA Winter, that was hella hard. Did I pick up correctly? I think I did. Forgot to equip the hookshot. There's a couple of extra bombs I could pick up from these bots, if I want to. But I think I'm good with the bomb count, so I don't have to worry too much. The next room has a small portion of the RNG with the anti-fairy. If it goes right or left, it decides gonna do the vast strat with the bomb arrow. Well, it goes right, so I can do the bomb arrow strat. If it goes left, I can't do it because it bounces in a weird way from the left side that it doesn't collide in the right spot for the wrist ropes be killed at the same time. So here's the wall right part. I have to land on this wall, then we surf to the other side. That's part 1, then here's part 2. Ooh, that was very fast. Let's go.
Nice. Even this one, it's kind of hard to get, and it takes practice.
You have to like
the one
kinda
that we
like
skip.
You have to kinda like trigger the link to start wall riding by holding down and then at the same time slightly press left, so you trigger him to slide to the other side. That's unfortunate. These Dodongas are a little bit of trickier to handle because of the pits.
Yeah, they move in quite an RNG way, and they really are a nightmare for most runners. You can end up losing a lot of time because of them moving in a weird way.
And they can also do the backflip that I like them to see, them doing. There is a potion I want to pick up before we continue the dungeon. I need to hit the switch. If I don't, then I can't get the potion, but I can get it later if I want to, but it's gonna be slower. Go hit the switch in other side of the dungeon. That potion is gonna be needed for later dungeon. Later upcoming dungeon. If you noticed, we are doing this dungeon a little bit of backwards, thanks to the wall riding. By doing this route, we managed to skip the tile room, and we also skipped this one small key. So both tile rooms are not part of the run at all.
And also we get this potion which is used for another Tracy boost that we're gonna do. And so we don't need to buy another potion, we just can pick it up. And this is the mini boss of the dungeon.
Oh, he picked it up! And it ended up being too close to him after the third hit.
If you saw, Samu actually managed to pick up the bowl first. It's actually kind of hard to do because the mini boss is closer to it, and picking up the bowl first actually saves some time.
It's a lot better and easier to do with a piece of power because you have the movement boost, but doing it without it is very, very hard. You have to time it correctly when you're nearby it. Time for one of the best bosses, if not the best boss in a whole run. I came up with a strat for this by using the bomb. Just lay down the bomb on the ground. We used to just only fire bomb arrows, but you can actually skip 2 of those bomb arrows by just laying down the bomb as soon as possible. So the first bomb arrow. But if you don't get that, then it's gonna be really tricky to finish the fight faster. This saves time. This actually saves time. That's unfortunate. I wasted a couple of bomb arrows there. Well, unfortunate. I wanna save some arrows, which is why I had to just throw the bomb normally.
Yeah, it's better to save arrows than going back to get them, probably.
I'm good with
They
arrows,
were still nice.
I believe. That heart container is, I would say, optional to pick up. But if I've taken too much damage, I would always pick it up to refresh my health. That potion we really need that for the upcoming week and next dungeons. If you have any donations, feel free to read them. We're gonna go to the maze to get the rock song.
So I do believe we should have a bid war that's still open for one of the upcoming games in just under 2 hours for Mass Effect. You choose between male or female shepherd. So if you are one of the viewers that like to change the outcome of the game, alter aspects in some sort, Again, get those donations in because we are racing toward 20K for Save the Children's Coronavirus Appeal.
All the equipment went wrong again. Not sure how many people did follow my Link's Awakening blindfolded playthrough. Well, it took me 3 hours to beat this place. I got lost so hard here. Reading the sign when you're blindfolded, that's like very tricky because the game doesn't give you any visual cue, any audio cue. Did you read the right sign? If I was reading a wrong sign, I would have to start over. And I believe that hasn't happened yet for me in a run or marathon.
It happened to me though.
Gonna be another Baby Jam moment with Wart, who is gonna show us a single album.
Best music in the game.
Next, we squeeze in with a quick message.
Yes, please.
We have a $100 donation coming in from Paxis that says, just keep up the amazing work. Greetings from Germany.
So we're gonna get this song. It's gonna help us because we're gonna get a friend out of it. And we're gonna use it quite a lot right now.
Yep, he's the most useful partner for the run. There's a statue in Mape Village. Underneath there is a corpse of the Pucko called Rooster, and he's the most useful partner for the rest of the run. And this is where the late game gets very interesting, thanks to the Rooster. There's many interesting things you can do with him. You wanna mention a couple of them? We're gonna go for.
Yeah, absolutely. We use the Rooster to do some glitches, one of which is air climbing, for example. We're gonna use air climbing quite a bit because the collision detection when you're going up ladders with the Rooster, it's kind of weird and it confuses the game. We're gonna see that when Samu tries to go over a ladder. Now we are on our way to D8. We are actually going to skip the wall route to get there by using this air climbing. So we're gonna trick the game by taking up the Rooster while we are on the edge of the ladder. And by going up the ladder, we can actually do an input that lets us load another fake ladder, and it's gonna look like we're climbing out of air. And as you see, we can kind of walk on the invisible wall, and if we do it right, we can jump on the invisible wall, and that's gonna send us immediately on the 8. And that was it.
There is no other way to get to Dungeon 8 early, normally, through the Flame Cave. The Flame Cave requires you to have the mirror shield from the Dungeon 7. Well, we just skip that. This boss was possible to skip because there was no collision or the hitbox in a head in an original version. In this one you have to beat it. For now at least. You never know if there's a new glitch found for a game like this.
Yeah, the community in glitch hunting is very active, so every now and then you go on the Discord and you see that a new glitch has been found, and it's very interesting.
So Dungeon 8, we're gonna go to the left because it's faster. You know, we are speedrunners, we wanna go fast. Do you wanna explain it yet, Chirano, or should we actually wait for the magic to happen first?
Yeah, I will wait for the magic to happen, and then we are gonna explain it.
A bit late. I got enough bombs and arrows to try. That was early. Just to say, this is frame perfect.
Yeah, this glitch is kind of hard because it's frame perfect, and you got it?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, perfect.
Oh, that was Dungeon 8.
What happened?
Okay.
Yeah, that was Dungeon 8 pretty much. So what happened is that if we get it by the bomb that we throw with the arrow at the same time that the Inox takes us, like it grabs it, the game goes in confusion and the collision detection gets weird, and we get launched over the wall again, and that lets us go directly on the boss room. And the boss is not gonna be there because if you don't enter the boss room as you're supposed to do with the door, you actually don't get the boss, and you can just run to the instrument room and skip it. And that trick is frame perfect, and you're gonna see it actually again later on.
That's why we need the potion. Oh, this is very scary. Get up.
And now we're gonna see a bunch of other air climbing. This one is kind of hard to get because there are meatballs. I mean, boulders that are coming to your way. But as you can see, we are actually going out of bounds, and we are walking next to the egg. That's obviously not intended. And we are gonna jump over.
I feel it's kinda intended because there is collision you can stand on. Right? Maybe.
We need to ask the developers.
Yeah. So the reason
we're gonna get the key.
The reason I had to do that is because the water ball is still there. We didn't open it. We skipped the key, which means the water ball is still solid. And the only way to get past that is going around the egg, then jump on the invisible wall part, and then just get to the other side of the mountain. We got Dungeon 7 key, then we are on the way to Dungeon 7. And just to make it more spicy, because Rooster is so helpful for us, we are not gonna go enter any of these caves upcoming. Get to the Dungeon 7. Oh, did you thought we are gonna enter those? Oh no.
We're gonna do some back-to-back air climbing again to just skip all the caves and enter the dungeon as soon as possible.
That was part number 1, and here's a part number 2. If it wasn't for these 2 ladders, we would have to go through the caves. Yeah, that was the mountain.
Nice.
Thank you, Rooster. Dungeon 7, that has a skip. It has a setup, but to make it sound less complicated, the setup has 3 different frames that works to skip the dungeon, but only those two of those frames you have to fight the dungeon boss, but only 1 frame lets you skip the whole dungeon. You just get the instrument that way.
So it works pretty much as the Dungeon 8 skip that we just did, but it requires a bit of setup for it.
And a potion is required for it to work.
Exactly.
So there's
it's a mix between Tracy Boost, let's say, and the Inox Sword.
That jump I was doing there is actually called Skew. The game doesn't allow Link to walk any more directions but just 8, but you can do something like that with a better to jump 6,000 millions of different directions. So this Tricks, recovers is set up, and these bonks are making me to get the X coordinate that I need for this to work. If I don't do it, I can't get this. So let's see what's gonna happen. That was a frame early from the instrument room, I believe. I see the setup. So, which means we're gonna do the boss fight. It's cool, it's fine.
Still very hard to get even the boss fight room.
Yeah.
Because the frame is very hard to get. It's frame perfect to get to the instrument, and
Very
it's
hard,
really
very hard visual cues to look at. So it's like almost just by the feeling after you have done the setup. I have 12 arrows, so I wanna save all of those arrows. There was actually something new found for Eagle fight. You can completely remove the RNG from the fight by going to the ladder when he does this one specific attack that slows down the whole fight.
Yeah, that's a really good find because this eagle can actually spam the feather attack, and it takes a lot of time to clear without arrows.
Yeah. Very good fight still.
Yeah.
That was dungeon 7. We are on our way to clean up the remaining dungeons that are dungeon 4 and 2. What is the timer at currently?
1 hour and 5 minutes.
I think it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Remaining dungeons are just 2 minutes, 3 minutes long. Actually 3 minutes, then we have the final boss.
Yeah, we already cleared the dungeon, we just pretty much need to go for the boss of the dungeon.
Yeah, dungeon 4 we had to do early, just because of the coast. When we go below the certain part of the part of the upper map, the coast appears, then it doesn't let us enter any dungeons, and including the egg as well. The dungeon 2 is faster to do it later because there's a skip as well. Not that skip I was trying to do earlier this run. It was something else. If you have any donations, it's good time to read them out right now.
I do have a quick message. Thanks to your guys' donations, we are inching again slowly and ever the more closer toward that 20k. But due to all of your glorious contributions so far, Save the Children is working to ensure that all their programs, particularly in those countries most at risk from the outbreak, are ready to respond to the coronavirus. This includes making sure that health clinics have enough soap and disinfectant hygiene supplies to prevent the spread of infection. We have a couple of more games to showcase throughout the entirety of this marathon, and Samura1man has done a glorious display of Link's Awakening so far. So let's get in those donations as we are performing for a cause. Saving the children through coronavirus relief.
You saw me doing the tile puzzle there without ever looking at the solution. That's with the egg maze part. When you know the egg maze part code, you also know the code for the tiles, the 5 tiles in this dungeon.
Also, to get to the boss room, we also did a small key skip by jumping, destroying the base and jumping into that room.
Oh, and the best boss fight with the line plopper, 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 plopper. And the name is Piranha Killer. In English it's anglerfish. That was a perfect fight. I got the double hits. I've got the double hits from the spin slashes, making the fight a lot faster. And he didn't get to bonk to the wall to make some rocks to fall down.
So now dungeon 2 is coming, and we need to fight the boss of that dungeon. And the reason why we do the dungeon the reason why we do it as the last dungeon is because there's a skip for it, that you get after you get the boots. And we want to skip it because it's kind of a slow fight. It's not a hard fight, but it's really slow to get through. And we actually have a way to skip it now.
I actually rated Genie as the least favorite or the worst boss of the game in my tier list. So he's possible to skip, recovers boots, which is why we have to skip, which is why we have to split the dungeon into 2. Now with the dungeon 2 skip with the Hinox, it will be faster to get that orb, but it's, like I mentioned, it's RNG. And for the marathon purpose, I had to just continue the run without getting the skip. The skip for the Genie requires a specific timing in a specific spot for me to click through the room, back to the previous room. Then it doesn't let the boss to load, which means the door is open, so I can just simply walk to the instrument room. Picking up that heart because I'll be taking damage. Oh, I don't have a key. Oh, yeah, I forgot that. Oops, this is a problem. Oops, I forgot something. Because I tried to go for a dungeon 2 skip, I forgot to get an extra small key. It's alright, we have boots. There are 2 small keys I will pick up, but this is faster, I think. Now we can get to the boss fight.
So the way this boss fight works is that there's a genie inside a vase that we cannot hurt until we actually destroy the vase. We can actually use the vase to clip through the door by bouncing into it with the boots, and that lets us just skip it by despawning in pretty much. We're gonna see.
I have to enter the boss room from very middle as possible, and luckily enough, fortunately, falling down from a pit sets you to the home tile directly in the middle spot, so I can just enter the room that way. The skip is not super precise, but it has a super precise timing I had to do with the jump, and then it's just all for the boots. I cannot move up at all from this spot, otherwise it will change the position for Genie. Let's go for it and see what happens. Unfortunately, I think I was in a wrong spot or I jumped too late. Well, I can try again this and see if I can get it still. But he's in a tiny bit different spot. There's a visual cue I look at the ground, but it's still very difficult just because the timing for the jump is so strict. And I have to be in the right spot as well. And now you can see that I took a hit there a lot earlier while I was jumping, so I couldn't do anything about it but just accept that. And now I'm gonna do it without the setup for the left door that it was found originally for, I think. This is without setup, so we just hope for the best. That was the one last try, unfortunate, but we have to beat the boss fight. This is the reason that's a really hard skip on its own.
Yeah. It's very precise on positioning. And you can see why we try to skip it, because this boss fight requires many phases and it's kind of slow.
It's auto-scroller boss fight for the first phases, then when it hits out of the phase, it's a RNG when he wants to stop with the ghost of himself, then attack me. I had to pick up the hearts because I need that for the damage boost for the final boss. And that's the last instrument. We are next to the egg right now, which is really convenient for this route. If you have anything to say right now, reader, feel free.
Well, let us see. Yeah. Guys, we are still running the Wavy Dash promotion. Wavy the Rocket is holding a speed run event where if you can submit a sub-60 sub-hour speed run to the leaderboards, they will be donating an extra $10 to the cause. For an extra $50, all you need to do is have an additional 20 submissions total. I guess it's excessive as well. So let's get some more people in on this Wavy the Rocket, this brand new indie game, because we are definitely raising money for that coronavirus appeal from Save the Children. We still have a whole bunch more games to show off to you guys, so let us keep gaming and keep supporting the cause.
Wait, have we reached time yet, or is this pre-boss?
This is pre-boss.
If you ever wonder, was there a loading zone for the egg? The egg loading zone doesn't exist until you have played all of the 8 instruments.
Yeah, sadly, people have tried to glitch through the egg to go immediately to the final boss and skip maybe some dungeons, but it's not possible right now.
I would have liked the Easter egg where you can play the where you can play your ocarina without any instruments, and that would still open the door. But oh well, it's not a thing. Nothing just plays for that period of time. So I haven't checked the book, but I have done the Rng Manipulation, and I know the egg maze path code, and I believe it should be by going right 4 times, up once, left twice, then up. Starting of the egg maze path is always right or left, and it always ends the egg maze path, at the up direction. And there we go.
The final boss is pretty straightforward, but there are some minor strats to use to make it optimal.
Yeah, there's
sure.
optimal strats with the Modern phase and a Canon phase. Then there's RNG phases with the Death Hole and the Acme. I have 1 extra arrow. Because I don't have a magic rod from the Dungeon 8, I need to make sure every arrow I use here, 10 arrows, is that correct? Every arrow has to hit to Death Hole, otherwise I can't beat the boss fight and I have to start over the fight.
This is the RNG part of the fight. You can shoot red balls or blue balls. Only the red balls can damage him, and we want to get as many red balls as possible.
And I got the perfect RNG. Marathon-like.
Amazing.
That's the optimal strat for Moldrum. There's a here is an optimal but tricky timing for Cannon. Oh, unfortunate. But I still got it. He damages you every hit from Nightmare ability game damages by 1 to heart. Now it's just a 1 more. That's Death Hole. Then arrows. He opens an eye. I can fire 2 shots. There is a way to do 3 shots, but timing for that is so strict that nobody ever goes for it in a run. If you were able to do 3 shots to the eye twice in a row, you will be able to skip one cycle. I had an extra arrow, so I had a chance to try it. Now I just have to make sure the remaining arrows. That was a perfect fight. That was a very, very fast battle. Timing comes when the screen fades when I go upstairs. On the stairs. And that's the time. What was the final time? I'm actually curious. It was a very good run here and there.
It was a 1:19:60.
Okay, it was at least under an estimate. So many of the skips you saw were mostly major skips. Hardly any minor skips were saw for this run, and all of these major skips were very difficult to execute. So really happy that we got under an estimate. And now, because of the color dungeon incentive, I'm gonna restart. The file and make a new file.
Yeah, we are gonna have a brief, like 20-second intermission while we do some behind-the-scenes changes. Again.
Okay. Are we back now with a color dungeon incentive?
Yeah, we are live.
Alright. So, just quickly wanna teach you a color. What is a color in Finnish? Because I'm Finnish myself. Color is färg in Finnish. Important information. So color dungeon is an extra dungeon. I guess I can start explaining that when we start the run. Okay, so I'm gonna start in 3, 2, 1, go. So color dungeon is called as the dungeon 0 or just color dungeon, and it's an extra dungeon in the game where you can get a upgrade, blue tunic or just a blue mail or red mail, and those upgrades your damage or defense depending which one you wanna pick, and you can change that anytime you want. Well, color dungeon is a category where we wanna beat the dungeon, that dungeon as soon as possible, and the earliest we can enter to that dungeon is after dungeon 2. We don't have to beat any dungeons, just get the feather and a power bracelet, then enter the color dungeon. You'll be seeing me doing some stuff before we enter the dungeon. The run takes roughly below 20 minutes. If everything
so the color dungeon it's coming up from the original game. Didn't have the color dungeon, but when they re-released the game for Game Boy Color, they wanted to make a new dungeon for the game that implemented the color feature of the Game Boy Color. So they decided to add this dungeon, and we got it in the Switch version as well. And it's a really fun dungeon to play.
It is a fun dungeon. There isn't too much different other than just not beating 2 dungeons before entering a dungeon. I believe the only time you see color dungeon in any Link's Awakening runs is doing this, of course, and 100%. The route is pretty same until we leave dungeon 1, then we leave dungeon 2. If you have any donations, feel free to read.
I do have a message for what we are raising what we are raising money for. Guys, this is ESA Corona Relief, benefiting Save the Children's Coronavirus Relief Appeal. As we all know, the coronavirus knows no borders. Save the Children and various partners with them work around the clock to ensure that children and families in various countries remain protected. Also remember to wash your hands.
Have you done a run for this, Girano?
I actually haven't, but I watched you play it. That's for sure. I played through the dungeon, to the color dungeon in my casual playthrough, and it's really nice because the reward you get from it's actually kind of overpowered when you want to beat the game.
Yeah, it is.
Because if you get the red tunic, you do double damage to everything in the game, and that means you kill everything super fast, like in 1 hit for the normal enemies, and the bosses pretty much melt under your hits.
With the red mail, you pretty much have a piece of power, but not the speed boost.
Exactly.
There are other nice sword runs as well, like Color Dungeon. There's a one called as a Canalet Castle percent, or I just like to call it 5 golden leaves. Canalet Castle has 5 golden leaves, and it's possible to get there just the same way like we do for this Color Dungeon, but it requires a specific charm that is never seen in any other categories, that lets you enter the castle a lot earlier than you're supposed to enter there.
Also, to me, the Canalit Castle is one of the best areas of the game. It's really well done.
Yes, and it's never seen in any runs.
Exactly.
Except glitchless. The start of the run has always been, for me especially, really slow paced because you don't have the boots right now, and the most interesting glitches happens in the middle of the run.
Yeah, until Dungeon 1, the game, it's pretty much, the run, it's just a matter of making the right choices when it comes to movement. But as soon as you get to the first glitches, it becomes very, very fun to play.
If you are interested of speedrunning Link's Awakening, there is a dedicated Discord for both the original, the classic Link's Awakening, and DX version, and remake in the same Discord. There's helpful people for you to teach, to learn all the secrets
Absolutely.
all the secrets of this game. And don't worry, if you're very scared of these skips and glitches I was doing, you can always do different categories that bans, for example, Hinox Forbs, or you can do glitchless. There's anything for your taste to choose from.
Yeah, the community for the Link's Awakening, both the original and the remake, are amazing, and there's a lot of exactly. There's so many categories you can do, because some glitches in 90% are really hard, and it's understandable if someone find them too hard to do, but maybe they don't have the time to practice the skips.
Yeah,
so
that's how it split the community when more and more major skips were found, and especially Dungeon 4 early was the final need for some people that the game was getting too difficult to run when you have a skip that saves so much time, but you only have one try for it.
And the community is nice. We also have some hunts for glitches that we would like to have, like getting the rooster early. So if you in chat, could be the one that actually gets it. So go out and hunt for an early rooster.
I can't believe I just got Guardian Acorn there. So early rooster is like probably the most I guess anticipated, or just most wanted glitch right now for the
most wanted, I will say, yeah. Unless they find a way to load into the egg early, that would be cool as well.
That would be very cool. Well, that was Dungeon 1. We are on our way to Dungeon 2. And fun fact, that was the only time, that was the last time actually I'll open the menu, I think. There might be an autosave I can do in a color dungeon, but I'm not gonna do that.
As you saw, we just picked up the feather. We don't need to actually complete the dungeon. We only need to complete the color dungeon, so everything that's not needed, we are not gonna do it.
After leaving Dungeon 1, the Bao is still not there. We would have to beat the Dungeon 1. Fortunately, with the Dungeon 2 early, with the Gukko, or the chicken actually, we can just skip Bao as well, saving a good amount of time. Maybe this time, like is gonna like me. And yes, I had to say that. No, that's not. I don't like that. I only have 2 hearts, so this is gonna be really scary. You wanna come down? Cannot. Please refill myself. If I can. Nope. Okay. Doesn't like me, seems like. This is unfortunate. Guess I will have to use this guy. This is the older method to get the 3 early. Let's see if he's cooperating. Nope. I don't know what to do. I'm a little bit lost because I have 2 hearts and this guy over there in the right is just completely doing what I don't want. And I'm just losing more hearts. Just let me attempt it at least, game. Okay, now he's moving right. Okay, he's stuck. Everything that goes wrong is going wrong right now that I don't want. Okay, he's moving in a way I want right now. Okay, good. Come down. No, come down. The line of sight for the like is so tricky. Oh my goodness. You wanna do something like? That's not good. You're gonna go up. Come right. Yes. Now come down. Yes. Now come right. No. Come down right. Come down. Yes. Okay, let's try this now. That's very bad. We have to start over. Unfortunately, that. Luckily, the autosave is there. I'm gonna save next to the chicken because I don't know why is everything going wrong right now for that. Like is RNG. I didn't even get to attempt that, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, they are RNG, but they are really acting weird today.
Gonna do a favor more for myself and for the ESA that I'm gonna have a backup save already ready. Likes are not gonna like me. Now with the 3 hearts, that's why it was so scary to even attempt that, because every time a like gets you, it's a 1 heart of damage. Then there's those flowers in a swamp, that also damages by 1 heart. But you can jump over that flower if you have a very precise time to jump over. But if I don't get that, I'm gonna take a hit.
Yeah, it's always better to consider the hit that you're gonna get.
Hey, we got it. Thank you.
Nice. It's very likely to get it by the flower. The way to skip it is very precise.
Yeah, you saw there I was like almost at the edge and I still took a hit when I jumped over the flower. I need 2 keys, beat the mini-boss, Hinox, get the power bracelet, then we go to the color dungeon.
Squeeze in a quick message?
Yes, please.
We have a $50 donation from Wearing Thin with no comment, but thank you very much for that very generous contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to everyone who has been donating for good cause. And thank you for watching ESA. Just need to wait for that platform to come down and up. It's in a cycle, it's 100% consistent cycle, so you always have to wait for it. I guess during this time when we're about to enter the dungeon, color dungeon, I guess I can like say that I stream a lot on my own channel, twitch.tv/Samura1man, 4 to 6 times a week. I do lots of speedruns and some other stuff and challenges as well. And I would say thank you, Chirano, for accepting my request for commentating.
Absolutely. I really appreciate it, and I really like Samu. He's an amazing runner.
Thank you to Blacktastic for doing the reading. And especially ESA, thank you for accepting my run. And the bonus incentive got met too. Thank you everyone for donating for that. Can't wait for ESA summer.
Yeah, that's gonna be hype.
So entering Color Dungeon, we have to move these graves in a specific order, specific directions. And taking a hit like that is not good. Please, game, don't make this any worse. Doesn't want to listen to me. There's Color Dungeon. There are 2 mini bosses and a couple of small keys we have to pick up in order to the end of the boss fight. You wanna cooperate a little bit? Not having boots makes this a little slower, but this is the fastest way we can beat the Color Dungeon. There's actually a tomb too we can pick up in that one room I was just earlier in. Actually, yeah, we're gonna do auto load after getting this nightmare key. It's faster than going backwards. Oh, that's unfortunate. Please don't die yet. This will be a nightmare key on the chest. There will be one more mini boss before we get to the boss fight of this dungeon and get the grand prize of the dungeon, either red mail or blue mail. I'll let you decide, Chirano, which one I will pick up. A red mail or blue mail.
I like the style of the blue one.
Okay, we're gonna go with that.
Fashion Zelda.
Indeed. Those green enemies are a little bit tricky to kill because they don't want to stop sometimes, and that's probably because of the corners or the pits and how they move nearby those. Here's the... I forgot its name. I guess it's the rock guy. There's a little bit of RNG. The fight. That's not good. I'm still alive somehow. All I had to do was to do one more hit, I think. Having 3 hearts makes this part of the run very scary.
Yeah, the boulders RNG looks scary, that's for sure.
Well, let's try again. Just needs one more hit. There we go. It's 4 spin slashes, but I missed one there. I had to do a regular slash instead. Need a small key from this room, and this is probably the trickiest one because of these different colors that are there. Oh my goodness! Wanna jump out of the way? No, my god! Everything is going wrong, like I said. No, that's not. Even I'm surprised everything is going just wrong in every possible way. Oh, I one time soft locked here and I didn't get the key. I have no idea what went wrong. Well, that was a disaster. There's one more puzzle. There's one more puzzle before boss fight. This is the simple puzzle. Just hit the red ones. And you're good. And here's a really awesome skip that is very difficult. It's frame perfect, but it's not really. You just jump. Nice.
Nice.
Hitting this only with a sport couple times will make it go down faster. I have to be careful. Just don't die. If I died there I would have been so sad. Timing ends when the screen fades out after I pick up the blue mail. And there we go, this is the blue mail. The Bastion. And that is the time.
Nice.
So many things went wrong, but I'm happy I got to showcase. Thank you to ESA for accepting my run and the incentive. And thank you to you over watching home for donating for this and for the ESA to save the children. I'm Samura1man. Like I said, I stream a lot on Twitch 4 to 6 times a week. Thank you, Girano. He also streams. Thank you to the Blacktastic. He even streams too. So thank you everyone.
We all stream.
We all stream. Thank you everyone for watching, and thanks ESA so much for having me. I hope I'll get to show more of the awesome speedruns in the future.
Thank you.